世人願捨身。這禮物化作活存的心靈，幸福是接受和活出這禮物的真諦，教我學習愛到痛時就如遇見主。人一生最如趕，豔陽縱使多耀眼，如若沒愛，彷彿天空阻隔了光線的障幔，請潔淨我心眼，長流着愛的恩泉，清澈璀璨。
加拿大係一個熱門嘅移民國家，佢之所以吸引不同地方嘅人嚟定居，其中一個重要嘅因素就係相對好多其他國家，加拿大高度重視人權。由聯合國多個成員國投票通過嘅世界人權宣言中有咁樣嘅條文：人皆生而自由，喺尊嚴及權利上均各平等，人人有權享有生命、自由與人身安全。生存權係最基本嘅人權。可惜嘅係喺加拿大呢個民主國家，好多未出世或者弱小者嘅生命依然得唔到保障。人類生命嘅價值係唔係已經唔再重要呢？喺一個平等同埋公義嘅社會，冇人會有權決定另一個人嘅生死。呢個概念十分基本，但係由過往到而家都有高級嘅知識分子鼓吹另一套完全相反嘅理論。要數歷史上嘅人權大災難，不得不提第二次世界大戰期間德國納粹黨推行嘅種族清洗。佢哋嘅暴行廣為人知，但係佢哋所擁護嘅優生學先至係造成大屠殺嘅元兇。1920年，德國有兩位教授編寫咗一本書，名叫《容許滅絕不值得活的生命》。佢哋認為精神有問題、智障或者畸形嘅人都唔值得活着。1930年代，德國經過數年經濟大蕭條之後，以希特拉為首嘅納粹黨掌權。佢哋利用不同媒介向國民宣傳智障或者有缺陷嘅人比起一般人為國家製造更大經濟負擔。到咗30年代末期，納粹官員開始收到安樂死嘅要求。
And what you had is you had a case of a child who was born with severe disability, and they called it the Nauer case. And this father had wrote a letter to Hitler asking for his son to be euthanized. And so Hitler sent his main doctor to visit and agreed, and they euthanized that child. But starting from there, they basically opened the door to euthanasia of children with disabilities and then others with disabilities.
1939年，納粹政府正式展開 T4 計劃，佢哋要求所有醫生同埋助產士登記智障同埋有缺陷嘅嬰孩。呢啲嬰兒嘅檔案會被分為3類，第一類得以生存，第二類被編入觀察之列，而第3類則會被處決。
The whole killing procedure started out with dehydration, and then it moved to lethal injection, but that wasn't effective enough, so then they went to gassing. So the whole gassing procedure, the development of the gases and the setting up of the shower system started in the psychiatric hospitals. That's where it started.
死於納粹黨 T4 計劃下嘅智障以及殘疾人士大概有20萬。此外，納粹黨之後亦都處決咗其他嘅族群，最為人知嘅就係屠殺600萬名猶太人。嚟到21世紀，當某啲國家已經將安樂死合法化，而一啲人更視之為進步嘅標記，是否代表冇人會好似喺希特拉時代喺非自願嘅情況之下被處死呢？呢啲我哋稍後再討論。絕大部分考慮尋求安樂死嘅人係因為害怕面對病痛同埋精神折磨。當一個人面對痛苦與死亡嘅衝擊而陷於絕望嘅時候，佢哋最大嘅需要就係有人能夠陪伴、同情同支持。呢啲支持以及適當嘅治療有助舒緩病人嘅痛楚，令到病者有力量繼續面對生命。
Palliative care, when it's properly done, is about caring for people and caring for them in their dying days and when they're having, maybe going through difficult symptoms. It's about palliating the symptoms, dealing with the pain, but it's also oriented towards the psychological and sometimes and often the spiritual care of a person. Because palliative care, when done well and done properly, does lead to someone dying a natural death and a good death. So when people say, oh, I believe in a death with dignity, well, I would say, well, what does that mean? Do you believe that we should die in comfort, being well cared for, allowing us to die naturally? Or do you think that we should be causing their death? Because that's euthanasia, right?
安樂死目前喺加拿大仍然屬於非法，不論出於乜嘢理由，蓄意去結束一個人嘅生命就係謀殺。即使行使安樂死嘅動機並非出於自私咁不願受病人嘅拖累，咁樣做亦都唔係出自真正嘅慈悲。真正嘅同情心會使人分擔另一個人嘅痛苦，唔會因為無法忍受嗰個人嘅痛苦而將佢殺死。安樂死合法化嘅原意係讓一啲人可以在他人協助之下結束自己嘅生命，但係呢類法例執行嘅時候，往往出現好多漏洞。根據本國嘅數據，喺70%嘅虐待長者個案中，虐待長者嘅人往往就係照顧佢嘅人。而咁樣嘅情況之下，安樂死合法化會唔會令到長者嘅生命受到進一步嘅威脅呢？
Why is elder abuse not being reported? Why is it going on so prevalently? Can you protect someone from elder abuse? And society is saying it's being very difficult to do so. Will you be able to protect them from euthanasia or assisted suicide?
安樂死喺荷蘭、比利時以及盧森堡經已合法化。根據一項2010年嘅研究，喺比利時 Flanders 地區，32%被施以安樂死嘅人並冇要求或者同意接受安樂死，而喺荷蘭，兒童亦都被施以安樂死。當地嘅 Groningen 議定書制定喺乜嘢情況之下能夠為兒童施行安樂死。
So what we're looking at is children with spina bifida, or children born with Down syndrome, or other conditions who at birth are being euthanized. And I asked the question, well, I thought it was about choice, I thought it was about consent, I thought it was about autonomy. Babies born with spina bifida aren't choosing. It's not about their autonomy. It's about killing them.
Groningen 議定書容許殘障或者嚴重疾病者被施以安樂死，即係認同佢哋嘅生命不值得活。如果社會都接受呢種價值觀，咁樣想繼續生存嘅殘障人士同埋病人，只可以活喺歧視之中，甚至被勸喻自行了斷。
If we allow government, whoever has control of the government, to be able to pick and choose who is a human being, regardless of their actual inherent worth and dignity, then it strikes at the whole concept of universal human rights.
本身係律師嘅國會議員 Stephen Woodworth 喺2012年2月提出 M312 動議，佢提議國會組織委員會重新審視加拿大刑事法第223條第1節。該法例聲言，細路仔在活着完全離開母體之後，先至算係人類。未出生嬰兒喺呢個法例之下唔算係人類，亦都因此不受法律保護。
So what this means is that if a child's little toe is in the birth canal, that child isn't a human being in Canada. I've had nurses tell me that they've witnessed childbirth where a child even begins to cry before they are fully out of the birth canal. Clearly those children are breathing because their lungs are working, they're crying, and yet in Canada they are not legally human beings. This is a law which decrees that some people we know to be human are not human.
M312 動議初聽嚟好似喺度執拗法律條文嘅字眼，但係呢個動議嘅目的係研究400年前立定為人類嘅定義是否符合現今21世紀嘅醫學知識。人類嘅定義係其他所有法例嘅基礎。法律本來係為咗保障不同嘅人，特別係弱勢社群嘅利益。如果國家不為人類立一個正確嘅定義，法律就好容易偏袒強者，有違法律面前人人平等呢個基本精神。
What we never do in a civilized society is we never say, I'm a human being and I have rights. However, you are not a human being, therefore you have no rights. We always start from the premise that human rights are inherent. They are based on who you are as a person. They are not based on whether you have some value or convenience or inconvenience to someone else. Now, any law which is based on the lie that someone we know to be human is not human is wrong.
墮胎喺加拿大合法，大家都知道，但係據調查統計，大約80%加拿大人誤以為懷孕晚期嘅胎兒係受到法律保障嘅，佢哋並唔知道由1988年開始，所有未出生嬰兒都完全冇法律保護。
Canada is one of the few countries in the world which does not have such a law. Every European country has some protection for children before birth. As nearly as I can tell, if you look around the world, the only places which share Canada's complete lack of protection for children before birth are a few American states, North Korea, and Vietnam. It is not suitable, in my opinion, for Canada to be in the company of North Korea when it comes to the question of the human rights of children before birth.
加拿大法律係點樣走到呢個地步呢？墮胎喺加拿大起初係完全非法嘅。喺1950年代，一啲人聲言每年有數百名婦女因為非法墮胎出錯而死。佢哋認為婦女有權得到安全嘅墮胎服務。喺1969年，加拿大修改刑事法，容許孕婦出於健康理由喺醫院經由3名醫生組成嘅小組批准之後，可以合法墮胎。喺同一年， Dr. Henry Morgan Taylor 見孕婦依然未能夠輕易得到墮胎服務，於是佢喺滿地可違法經營墮胎診所。佢被多次檢控，甚至曾經入獄。但係佢認為為婦女墮胎就係幫助佢哋。喺1973年，佢甚至接受邀請喺電視節目示範可以喺5分鐘完成墮胎手術。該個節目更刻意安排喺母親節播出。Morgan Taylor 喺1983年因為提供非法墮胎再次被檢控。喺多次上訴之後，1988年加拿大最高法院裁定婦女無需經任何批准都可以合法墮胎。墮胎呢個議題咁受爭議，係因為婦女嘅自主權跟胎兒嘅生存權存有衝突。喺一個民主嘅法治社會裏邊，我哋唔能夠因為呢種衝突而抹殺其中一方嘅全部利益。我哋會用法律去平衡各方嘅利益。
In any civilized country, no one's rights are absolute. If we have cars going one way and cars going another way, we have to decide who has the right to go through the intersection first. Everyone's rights are subject to reasonable and democratic limits.
喺好多情況之下，婦女係因為艱難嘅現實生活，迫不得已先至選擇墮胎嘅。但係不可爭辯嘅就係，墮胎消滅嘅係一個初生嘅生命。如果社會中最弱小、最無智慧能力嘅成員得唔到法律嘅保障，法律嘅存在仲有乜嘢意義呢？喺2012年2月，即係 Woodworth 議員提出 M312 動議幾個星期之後，幾位學者喺一本醫學期刊發表咗一篇驚人嘅論文。論文嘅題目係出生後的墮胎，為何嬰兒應該活着？作者認為，既然大眾接受墮胎，而胎兒跟初生嬰兒本質冇分別，咁樣喺嬰兒出生之後墮胎應被允許。作者仲特意解釋佢哋選用墮胎一詞而非殺嬰，係要凸顯被殺害者嘅地位跟胎兒一樣，而跟細路仔不同。
You have to read it to know that they're not joking. At first it does sound like a joke, but they're very serious. So they say that anything which justifies an abortion of a child before birth should also justify taking the life of a newborn infant. Now, this may seem shocking to us in the year 2012, but I'm old enough to know that if academics repeat things, and some judges start to repeat them, that after 20 or 30 years of hearing this, our consciences become deadened, and we will find that it doesn't sound so shocking anymore.
事實上，咁樣嘅邏輯已經開始被引用。喺亞省嘅一宗殺嬰案中，嗰位殺死自己親生子嘅母親，只被判處3年緩刑，無需監禁。法官認為，加拿大既然冇任何管制墮胎嘅法律，即係表示加拿大人同情母親多於孩子，所以殺嬰嘅母親亦都唔算係大罪，可以輕判。呢個法官所用嘅驚人邏輯，不但只嚴重漠視嬰兒嘅權益，亦都為未來涉及嬰兒權益嘅案件帶來深遠嘅影響。 好多婦女在冇計劃之下懷孕，都會想避免自己嘅生活被呢個突如其來嘅小生命所影響，墮胎就睇嚟似係一個最快可以解決問題嘅方法。Angelina Stinstra 喺15歲嘅時候，因為遭遇到性侵犯而懷孕，由於恐懼家人發現，佢選擇咗墮胎。絕大部分女性喺意外懷孕嘅時候決定墮胎，係因為佢哋以為冇其他選擇。作為過來人， Angelina 當年亦都以為墮胎可以解決問題，佢後來先至發現呢個諗法係完全錯誤嘅。
And I didn't have abortion in a vacuum. I'm part of a community. I'm part of a country that legalized abortion in 1969. And they legalized it on the premise that it would be good for women who were raped or who conceived through incest. We had to have abortion for those people. Well, I can tell you that I was one of those people. And abortion didn't fix anything. You know, from the day of the abortion until I came to accept that what I did was wrong, I never had any peace.
喺墮胎13年之後， Angelina 抑壓多年嘅記憶，因為再次懷孕而被勾起。
I was married 7 years when we found out that I was pregnant, but that I was in the balance between life and death, and that this baby wasn't going to grow up, he wasn't going to come to term.
當 Angelina 發現佢期待嘅小生命因為宮外孕而無法出生時，佢馬上要面對重大嘅生死抉擇。由於輸卵管破裂，如果唔立即做手術切除，佢將會性命不保。醫護人員將佢推入手術室嘅時候，佢3次叫停佢哋。
Said, well, I can't say yes to this, and I can't say yes to this because I had an abortion, and to say yes to the death of this child is like saying yes to the death of my first child, and I don't want to ever do that again. The doctor said, Angelina, if you don't have this surgery, you're going to die. And I said, so be it. I would rather die this time than be responsible for taking the life of another child.
10誡之中嘅第5誡不可殺人，為人設下咗一條不可越過嘅底線。呢個誡命係社會上所有生命嘅基礎。喺舊約聖經中，梅瑟曾經語重心長對以色列人話：我已經將生命與死亡、祝福與詛咒都擺喺你哋嘅面前，你要選擇生命，為叫你同埋你嘅後裔得以生存。Angelina 對呢一番說話有好深嘅體會。
And I didn't choose life, and my descendants didn't live. And there's an anguish until one comes face to face with God and says, what I've done is wrong. I realize it. I agree with it. I'm sorry for what I've done. Please forgive me. And so the mental anguish, you know, the psychological anguish, the soul, anguish of the soul, that's began to heal when I had that grace of turning to God, turning to my child, and then turning to my family.
Angelina 治愈因為墮胎帶來嘅傷痛之後，致力幫助其他曾經墮胎嘅婦女走出陰霾。佢屬於一個名為不再沉默嘅組織，旨在聚集一班過來人，向公眾親述墮胎後患無窮，為肉體同精神上造成極大傷害。
We want to make abortion unthinkable. We believe women deserve better than abortion. Fathers deserve better than abortion.
跟墮胎有過密切經驗嘅人喺認清個中嘅罪惡之後，往往好似 Angelina 一樣，為維護生命出一分力。1970年代，阿 May 喺中國內地嘅農村做醫生，被編入計劃生育隊伍工作，親眼見過墮胎最血淋淋嘅真相。
超過第二胎咧，就有做 abortion 啦。做 abortion 咧係3個月之類嗰啲。咁，但有時咧，你係清理嗰啲殘渣時候咧，你都可以睇到嗰啲小肢體㗎，所以咧都好得人驚嘅。咁最後藥緊咧，要嗰啲中期引產啦。個就係4-5個月咁樣，佢打支藥落去咧，咁啊個 BB 係死咗之後咧，佢就等佢自己生。咁嗰陣時見到嘅咧就係完整嘅胎兒，呢個真係睇到就覺得 自己嘅良心都上唔住，因為嗰陣時我都唔係教友，所以有好多道理我都唔係好懂。但係呢個係生命啊嘛，你睇到。
每年5月喺首都渥太華國會山莊前都有好多人聚集，參與1年1度嘅維護生命大遊行。一啲維護生命嘅國會議員特別出嚟講話，向參加者致謝。
Thank you everyone for coming out today. I've been here for 6 years as an MP, and I have to say this is the biggest crowd I've seen yet.
Today, like you, I'm here to say that human life is precious, in fact, of infinite value, that human life begins at conception. I'm also here to say that, as with most Canadians, it does no Canadian credit that there is no law in Canada on abortion.
We treasure life. It is a gift and it is something that we need to stand up for and urge everyone with clarity and charity. We need to encourage all people to see this precious gift.
The signs that you will carry in this march will be a reminder of the value of human life, from conception to natural death. And we need to hold on to that truth and to witness to that.
呢一年嘅遊行有2萬人參加，當中包括好多年青人。
We believe that life is precious from conception to natural death.
This is my 4th time. I'm here to protest against abortion because it's killing babies everywhere and it's very wrong. Just the little kids being pulled out of their mother's womb and just horribly killed. It's horrible.
見好多時我哋有所謂 pro-choice 嘅兄弟姊妹咧，就話呢個係女性嘅選擇。如果我 pro-life 咧，就係剝奪咗女性嘅選擇。咁我其實我係好反對咯，因為我自己係身為一位女性，我覺得我係有選擇。不過我嘅選擇係選擇生命，唔係選擇死亡。
今年係第一次嚟，咁我覺得好感動。我一嚟到嘅時候，其實我係我自己個人其實我不自覺地就喊咗，因為我覺得見到咁多人喺度聚集埋一齊為同一個 cause， 其實係好感動，亦都係我都係天主嘅工作咯。如果唔係天主嘅感動嘅話，我哋根本冇可能有咁多人喺呢度做咁多嘅工作咯。
捍衛社會公義係每一個人嘅使命，而呢項任務最應該喺弱小嘅生命上實現。1941年喺納粹黨進行 T4 屠殺計劃期間，德國天主教明斯特教區主教 von Galen 喺彌撒講道中強烈譴責政府把缺乏生產力視為處決弱者嘅理由，更加將講詞用電報發俾希特拉。佢嘅講詞好快被傳開去，促使政府暫時終止屠殺計劃。von Galen 主教冒住被拘捕甚至被殺嘅危險，公然挑戰納粹黨嘅暴行，呢份勇氣實在值得我哋學習。同樣，Woodworth 議員勇敢地提出 M312 動議，希望國會能夠公開同埋公平地討論400年前定下未必符合現今醫學嘅人類定義，但係贊成墮胎嘅人卻因為拒絕接受法律改動可能帶來嘅結果，不斷攻擊 Woodworth 議員。
I don't think it's necessary to pretend that a child is not a human being in order to discuss a woman's rights. As Canadians, we want to apply sympathy and compassion and the protection of law and human rights to all people equally. And so it would be a false premise to say that we should not also have sympathy and compassion for a child involved if in fact a child is a human being.
1857年，美國最高法院嘅9名法官裁定非洲裔美國人喺美國法例下唔算係人。20世紀初，加拿大最高法院嘅9名法官裁定女性喺加拿大法例下唔算係人。呢啲喺現今社會絕對係荒謬嘅定論。大家能夠想像呢啲曾經係法例嘅漏洞所產生嘅裁決嗎？當年死喺納粹黨大屠殺嘅人總數超過1000萬人，呢段歷史已經成為過去。德國亦都已經吸取教訓，防範後代重蹈覆轍。但係喺今日，另一幕悲劇仍然不斷咁上演。單係喺加拿大，自墮胎合法化已經有超過300萬名細路仔受害。若以全球計算，每年有超過4000萬名細路仔死於墮胎。 我哋能夠麻木咁繼續漠視呢個法例嘅漏洞所帶來嘅嚴重後果嗎？
We deserve to build up life, to surround life with the supports that are needed, regardless of the circumstance of the child's conception. Because each child is precious, a gift from God, created in His image and likeness, with a soul, a body and a soul, intended to live for eternity.
每個生命都係天主嘅創造，都享有平等嘅人性尊嚴，亦同樣享有尊貴嘅生存意義。喺一個健全嘅社會體制裏邊，我哋應該對任何生命抱住開放同埋公平嘅態度，尤其是係當某啲弱勢社群最基本嘅生存權益受到傷害嘅時候，我哋絕唔能夠偏袒某一方既有嘅權益，而斷然抹殺另一方最基礎嘅生存空間。咁樣絕對唔可以係文明及公義社會可接受嘅表現。生命嘅真正尊嚴喺邊度呢？唔通喺加拿大呢個民主嘅社會裏邊，就竟然冇去討論一條400年前定落嚟涉及生與死嘅法律嘅修改空間嗎？
誰為愛世人願捨身？這禮物化作活存的心靈，幸福是接受和活出這。
喺收睇過呢一集《生命恩泉》之後，如果你想分享你嘅感受或者故事，歡迎你哋打我哋嘅熱線電話同我哋傾下。願天主降福你同你嘅家人。我哋下星期同樣時間再見。
請潔淨我心眼，長流着愛的恩泉，清澈璀璨。